You're about to encounter one of the most devious and treacherous men I've ever come across. It defies belief what Mazen Bayoumi has done to his Australian wife Amal and their daughter Zareen. He took them on a holiday to meet his family back in Egypt and then tricked Amal into signing a document, written in Arabic, which banned her and Zareen from ever leaving the country without his say-so. They've now been trapped in Cairo for 2.5 years. Meanwhile, Bayoumi has returned to the good life in Australia, where he's getting up to a whole lot of bad. In the Egyptian capital, Cairo, Australian mother and daughter Amal Finn and young Zareen are on the move. There's no rest, as they constantly move between safe houses. Remaining anonymous is taking its toll.
It's a constant emotional drain.
Amal is drained because for more than 900 days, she and her 6-year-old daughter have been trapped in Egypt. They only came here as tourists and are desperate to come home. They're scared. And so too are Amal's parents, Razmi and Graham, back in Melbourne.
This is wrong. These 2 Australians must be brought back to Australia.
And Zareen, for all the time she's been away, she says, when are we going back to Melbourne?
One man is responsible for this family's anguish. His name is Mazen Bayoumi, an Egyptian citizen and father of young Zareen. From Melbourne, he's using every legal trick in the book to stop her and Amal leaving Egypt. Mazen Bayoumi, it's time to stop the lies. Why have you trapped your daughter and ex-wife in Egypt? You're a proven liar. You're living a comfortable life here in Melbourne whilst keeping your daughter and ex-wife virtual hostage in a country that you refuse to live in.
Something's not right with this picture. I'm an Australian citizen. I'm here. In Egypt, I want to go home. He's there. He's the Egyptian. He's living in Australia, where I want to be, and won't let us come home.
Make no mistake, it is an absolute injustice that Amal and young Zareen are trapped here in Egypt. Lies, deceit and manipulation have forced them to live a life in hiding and fear among the chaotic suburbs of Cairo, when they should be back at home in the suburbs of Melbourne, living a happy family life.
I'm homesick, and every day I'm scared about my daughter, what's going to happen to her.
Just explain to me, how are you living day to day here?
Day to day, every day is waking up and struggling with the realisation that we're still here.
This is no life for a 6-year-old or her mum.
Do you have peach or do you have pink?
Locked indoors day and night, too scared to venture too far outside, except to buy the basics and, like tonight, settle into another hidden flat in Cairo. What impact does this have on Zareen? Here's a little girl who should be running around and playing and going to school.
Oh, she wants to go to school. She wants friends. She just wants the normal things that kids do. I hate having to constantly tell her, you know, you've got to be quiet.
Hi, how did the wife take the dog?
We don't want the neighbours' attention. We don't want anybody's attention on us. That's not really a normal way for a little girl to grow up.
This nightmare existence began in mid-2013. At the time, Amal was living what she thought was a happily married life in Melbourne with husband Mazen Bayoumi and her 2 elder children from a previous marriage, Zara and Suleiman. Then one day, Bayoumi says he's missing Egypt and wants to take Zareen home to meet his family. So Amal heads off with her husband and their young daughter on a 2-week holiday.
I came here, you know, in good faith. I wanted to meet his family and wanted to do the right thing by my daughter and let her know both sides of her family.
But he had far more sinister plans. He had no intention of ever letting his daughter leave Egypt.
No.
He'd conned you.
He'd conned us, yeah.
When the time came to go home, Bayoumi bluntly told Amal their daughter wouldn't be returning to Australia. She'd be staying in Egypt with his family. How does he justify that?
He wants her to learn the language and stay for a short while. I was terrified, but I didn't have any choice, and I had to hold on to the hope that he would be good to his word.
You left Egypt without your daughter?
Yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life. She didn't know what was going on.
Did you tell her? Or how did you explain to her that you'd be leaving her behind?
He wouldn't let me tell her.
He forced you to abandon your daughter here. You had no control over this at all?
I had no control over it. I mean, I'm not Egyptian, and I don't speak the language. I had no way to argue about it.
To calm and coerce Amal, Bayoumi offers to help her get a new Egyptian visitor's visa so she can come back in 2 months to collect Zareen.
He told me that I needed to sign something, visa papers basically, so that I could come back in and pick up Zareen and there wouldn't be any problems.
He tricked Amal into signing a document. He said, "Trust me, I'm your husband," because it was all in Arabic. Amal said, "What's this?" He said, "Just trust me, this is for your permanent residence so that you can come and go freely into Egypt."
But that was a lie.
Yeah, that was an absolute lie.
A lie to support a very cruel plan. Amal would learn later she was tricked. Those documents in Arabic were in fact travel bans, restricting her and Zareen from ever leaving Egypt together without Bayoumi's consent.
I can't understand how a person could do that to a little girl, let alone your own child.
Back in Australia, Amal is distraught without her daughter and powerless in her marriage. For 6 long months, Bayoumi keeps coming up with excuses, stalling and blocking Amal every time she tries to book a flight back to Cairo. So in secret, she and her dad Graham work on a travel plan to get Zareen back. But it would be fraught with danger.
My dad and I, we flew here. We went to where she was being kept by her grandmother and went to speak to the family. We just went there to talk with them, and they're the ones who got really agitated and aggressive.
That attack by the family is traumatic, as it reads in the police statement. One uncle hit you, a second uncle hit your father, broke your father's glasses, took $1,000 off him, took your jewellery, they beat you. The grandmother then took Zareen, your daughter, by force while she was still striking you, and you're dragged out onto the street. The grandmother hit Zareen, it reads?
Yeah.
Then they threatened you. They said, quote, they would not let you leave Egypt alive.
Yeah.
What did they say?
"We'll kill you. We'll find you and we'll kill you."
They're not just threats. A few weeks later, hired thugs try to kidnap Zareen. Men who, according to Cairo police, have a dangerous criminal history. But kidnapping and death threats are just the start of Amal's nightmare. Using those documents he tricked her into signing, Bayoumi has laid a trap. It's now Amal learns her and Zareen's Australian passports are useless. An Egyptian court has imposed travel bans on them after Bayoumi played victim and claimed in a written application he'd never get to see his daughter again if she was allowed to leave Egypt. Where is Mazen at this stage? Is he in Egypt?
No.
Where is he?
He's in Melbourne.
Yet legally here, the court believes he's in Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he lied to the courts here.
He lied to the courts.
And they
And he
believed
lied to me. Yeah.
But he was successful. This is the travel ban.
Yeah, the result is we can't go home.
But the extent of Mazen Bayoumi's cunning and manipulation is only just starting to unfold. And it's staggering. You're exposed, Mazen. You're caught. It's finally time for the truth. Time to stop telling the lies. Coming up, time is running out. Hang on, you're meant to have an injured left leg. Lies, betrayal.
He has a wife here in Egypt.
Fraud. Why do you deserve to become an Australian citizen? That's next on 60 Minutes.